Jim Gilstrap.
This is the Inebriation Station. So we reused our Sensor 3 project, which was a breathalyzer, and I had an actual breathalyzer which we used to calibrate it, but the sensor element basically forms a voltage divider off the high rail, and depending on the amount of alcohol present in the atmosphere around the sensor, the ADC can determine or correlate to a known BAC that the user's blown into the sensor. And we made a game out of it so that you can have multiple players and keep track of your BAC, and ultimately I guess the winner is the most drunk person at the party. So, but the sensor did pose a lot of problems with accuracy, but after we got it honed in and figured out the range, the curve that we wanted to operate at, it seemed to give pretty good results. That was the sensor part of it. And also the battery pack we built for mobility, because where do you drink, you know? Everywhere.
So for this project we didn't use the Uno, we decided to go with Mega 88 PA. And all of this hardware, except for the sensor, is connected through an I/O expander, which are connected to the Mega via SPI. There are two 8-bit I/O expanders on there. One is dedicated to the LCD, which is driven in nimble mode, and the other acts as an input only for the input devices here. So you have two rotary encoders with push buttons each, and two additional buttons in the center. So the user can scroll through the menus with the left encoder and use the third, or yes, this button here as the enter and the right center button as the exit button. And you can change your initials, reset your score, BAC, and remove the player entirely from the game with those controls.
And there is a warm-up cycle for the sensor just to prepare it for accurate readings.
Yeah, so pretty much you can add up to 4 players maximum. You can put their initials in there. Three slots for the initials, and then you can either go ahead and update your BAC. You can add or remove more players by scrolling using the rotary encoder. You can scroll to each of the 4 slots, adding different players, removing players, and then once the sensor is set, you can update the BAC. The BAC goes through a heat cycle that kind of cleans the sensor, and then goes through a sampling state where it takes several samples in which it's a voltage sample, and then it pretty much obtains the highest voltage, and then we calibrated that, like Greg said, to determine the BAC using Greg's actual breathalyzer that we were able to use. So if we want to run just a test here. So we're running the heat cycle. Yeah, we'll just do a 0 right now. So we're running the heat cycle right in now, and so it's going to clean the sensor, and then it's a 20-second heat cycle, and then it's about a 7-minute sampling.
7 seconds.
It's pretty neat to actually watch the voltage output on it, because you can see the correlation. When you blow into it and you've been drinking a lot, it spikes up, and if you haven't been drinking anything, it just stays the steady.
So now it takes a 7-second sampling rate.
How did testing go?
Yeah. Too much fun.
So then now, as you can see, it says the BAC is 0.00.
Is there a minimum alcohol eating one test?
A minimum?
Yeah.
1 beer.
Yeah, well, it depends on if you were to drink like even a half a beer and then automatically go and blow in there, it's going to read it like relatively quickly. It's going to say that you're at like a 0.5 when you're really not. Same with his breathalyzer that we use to calibrate it for the most part. It would do the same thing, which is
reading alcohol in your breath
legit.
vice your actual blood alcohol content, which is that correlates to the alcohol blood exchange in your lungs.
So
that's what you should be reading.
Yeah.
But if you just took a drink and blew into it,